Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, and part 3, working on this guy right there. That's our F-15C 1/48 scale by Great Wall Hobbies. So we will get that intro going and we'll get started, okay? Last time we were working on our cockpit, right? Putting all our instrumentation in there and putting all those nice little 3D photo etch decals in from Quinta Studios. This is just my reference. Yeah, so we got those done last time. As you can see, this is now a little bit different color. Off camera, I decided to paint the avionics bay with the Mr. Color number 57. That is metallic blue green, which is basically their version of that color. Yeah, so I painted that. I painted the back panels, and I also put the 3D photo, or not 3D photo, the 3D decals on the little panels on the back there. Let me change the camera so you get a little bit better view on what this is going to look like when it's all done. Okay. All right. So there's our cockpit. Okay. There's that. Got the back wall, or I guess the front bulkhead, I guess you could call it, whatever you want to call that wall. Okay. A little bit of cables on the floor there. Just there's that. This is panel number 1. There. Okay. Okay. There you go. And then the other side with our little gray computer boxes. I don't know what those are, but they're computer boxes of some sort. And finally we have our rear wall or rear bulkhead that's going to go in there just like that. Okay, so we're going to continue putting this stuff all together. Okay, so basically page 1 is finished. We got our landing gear bay box put together, and that is now sitting nice and securely on the bottom of our cockpit where it's supposed to. So we can flip the page over and have a look at what's next. What's next is the assembly of our computer boxes. I don't know what these things are. These are maybe data recorders of some sort, something to do with the radar. I really don't know. All I know is the avionics bay, and this is, yeah, anyway. So you have a choice of which one you're going to build depending on which plane you're building. I have decided to go with this one, which gives us our little extra box that's sticking out on the side here, which I already installed on it. And then we're going to do our little top row of boxes or lids, whatever. Okay, so let's get that done. So let's change this back. So we have our boxes here. I've already put the handles. They show the handles here. I've put the handles here along the side. Okay, right there. They're all along the sides there. You just kind of put them on, try and line them up as straight as you can. Obviously I didn't quite get it perfectly straight, but I don't care. It's really just, they're in there and that's good enough. This extra one, T15, this goes onto the front there. I noticed when I took the T15 off the sprue, it had 2 pins coming out the back as if they're going in the holes. Flipping this over, I could see where there was 2 spots inside for you to drill the holes through. They don't mention it here. They kind of show little holes, but when you look at the front, there's no holes. So I figured, okay, I wonder if maybe something in the back, and sure enough, 2 little indents for you to guide you on where you drill the holes. So I did, and that fit on there perfectly, just like that. Okay, so we got to get T4 and T3. T4 I've already painted. I spent the morning painting this up, and I also put the handles on the top of T4 there. Okay, let's zoom in on that. You can see I've got my handles on it. Okay, just like that. Got it all painted up like it's pretty well supposed to be. Okay, so we're going to be doing T4 and then T3, this guy over here, a special looking one. Okay, let's get this off the sprue. This has been sitting probably for a good hour or so. So it's had plenty of time to dry and be ready for assembly. Let's see here. I'll find my knife. Nub cleanup is always important. So this is supposed to go on. It ain't going on that way, is it? They show it going on that way. Oh, maybe because I got it upside down. That would be an important thing, is to have it going on the right way. That would be very important. So it's going to sit on the top like that. It's not quite flush, but it's close. And then this piece, I'm just going to leave that like that for now. This piece goes on right in there, like that. With all these little handles on here, it makes it a little bit hard. Let's just try, let's see this. If you hear me sniffling a lot, it's because I do have a bit of a cold. I am going to do this. So I've got something sturdy to grab onto. That just slides in there like that. It kind of sits in there. Okay, let's get glue. Glue is an important step for making things stick together. So, a little bit glue on that side and that side. Is that the right way around? It looks like it, yep. Okay. There's that. Now, this is the top. I'm going to put some glue along the top here. It's lined up. Press down. There we go. And the top of our boxes is in. Okay, now I do have one handle here that's a little bit wiggly, so I'm going to put a little glue on him. Just a little, to me, extra thin. Just to kind of help him in his journey to staying there forever. So there we go. Okay, so there's our box tops. Just like that. Okay. So with that option done, they do show you here to drill your holes. So if you're unlike me and you're not paying attention to your instructions, yeah, you might miss that. Okay. I did pay attention here, so I've highlighted this so I can remember that once I've got this together, I've got to put that piece in there. There's a little hose that goes from your, I guess, from your armrest to the wall. Okay. That'll be after. But in the meantime, we're not ready to assemble it yet because we got to do this part. We got to get our T-18, which is our rear wall, rear bulkhead, and we got to put our, I'm going to say, the hydraulic shock for the canopy. That's got to go in. That's T12. So my T tree's right here. I have already painted it white like it's supposed to be. I try and do my painting off camera for you guys so that these videos are basically about assembly and not about painting and stuff like that. I am not an expert painter by any means, and I got no business teaching people how to paint, especially airbrush, since I've only been airbrushing for a couple of years. Okay, so 2 pins supposed to line up with 2 holes in the wall, there and there. Just like that. Lines up nice. Okay. So I'm going to get some extra thin here. Just going to hold them in. I'll put it in from the back. Just like that. Perfect. It's lined up. Yep. Perfect. I can remember when I was building the 1/32 scale Tamiya, I had to trim off the height of this depending on whether it's going to have the canopy open or closed. I don't know if I'll have to do that with this later. We will find out, I suppose. We don't have options, or it doesn't mention anything. Okay, so now we can put our pieces together. So let's start with this side, since I haven't just recently glued anything to it. We just want to line up all our little tabs into the slots like this, and it's going to line up like that. Okay. So we'll put some glue in there, and we'll get that glued down. I did find that the front of it wants to kind of lift up and have a little bit of a gap, so hopefully I can hold it here long enough that it's going to stay. I don't think a tiny little gap is really going to make any difference, but you never know. You never know. Okay, there's one wall in, just like that. Let's get our other wall. Our other wall, now complete. It's now a very tight fit underneath here, and in fact has foobarred one of my little handles, so I'll have to re-glue that. And for some reason this handle leaned over again. Okay, so that's in. Let's glue that in. Finally, we'll get our wall. And the wall's going to go in. Again, just line up the tabs and you're done. Just like that. finally along the bottom here. And we've got ourselves a nice assembled cockpit. And it fits very nice. Didn't really have to do any maneuvering or anything like that. I was doing a little bit of test fitting. I did find earlier the tabs that go into the front here and here were a little bit wide. I had to kind of shave them down just a little hair just to get them in there so that they fit nice. But other than that, it's been a nice fit all along, getting it to fit together. Can't complain. It's I would say very much equal to Tamiya. Tamiya, of course, being the gold standard of model kits. So I think it's a huge compliment if somebody says, hey, it's just as good as a Tamiya kit. Okay, so I gotta put that handle back on. This is where the glasses come off. Pick this up. This is how I put it on earlier. Hold on to it and just kind of put some glue on the tips. There we go. Just like that. Okay guys, so that's what we're looking at. Okay. There's your F-15 cockpit. Just about done. Now you might notice there's holes here in the back, right there. I did drill those out. I looked at some reference photos and those are actually supposed to be holes. So I just took my drill bit and went through there and drilled those out. Just for a little bit of realism, detail, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now one thing I haven't done is test fit with the walls to put this in. Now that I realize this is supposed to kind of fit in those walls, this might be a challenge, might be a problem. And it is a problem. I've got to put I'm going to have to spread this apart and put that in now. So that's an oops. You have to put this in first, then put the walls on. Or maybe get rid of these tabs. If I got rid of those tabs, I might be able to slide it in there. Oh no. Almost got it, There we go. Okay, phew. For a moment there, I didn't think I was going to be able to put that in. But I managed to get it. Okay, let's get some glue on that. All right. I might wind up having to paint the top edge of this black, depending on what it's going to be, what's visible inside when we get the fuselage together. So there we go. So there's our front cockpit now. With our main instrument panel in. So that's that. And that also means this page is done, except for our hose. Okay. Let's find our hose. C26. I'm gonna find my C tree. Where's my C tree? C. It's J. B. C. C is a big one here. C26. This guy right here. Oh yeah, that's an oxygen hose. There we go. Little oxygen hose. Okay, he's supposed to go like this. He's got to go in there. Okay, so there's a little round hole in the side of the wall right there. I don't think you can see it on the camera. Maybe you can. It is right where I gotta look again. Right there. Right where I'm pointing. It's right underneath there, right there. Okay. Lighting and camera doesn't really do it very much justice, but in any case, that's where it's supposed to go. So, let's put a dab of glue on the part where it goes into that hole. Here we go. A little bit of extra thin just to make sure it stays there. There we go. So there we go. We've got our little oxygen hose lying down there. So now I know I've done that. Okay, there we go. A little oxygen, lots of detail. Yes, you all, lots of detail. So there we go. A little oxygen hose there on the side. Okay. Okay, let's flip the page and see what's next. I've highlighted this because this is going to be his heads-up display. And I've highlighted this so that when I'm going through this later, I know to do this. I'm going to do this last. Because if I do it now and put that on there, then with all the other stuff I've got to do with this plane, that's going to get ripped off. Okay? So, I'm going to take a look at C1 and C10, our two fuselage halves. Okay? These two guys here. These two are going to go together like this. Obviously, we've got some issues with nubs. Now, one thing that's kind of nice, they undergated it. What does undergate mean? Undergate means the point at which the part is connected to the sprue is not in a spot that's on on the side that you're going to see, but would be on the very edge here. And they call that undergating. So for example, right here where this nub was, that's where it was connected to the sprue. Rather than having it connect on this edge where you're going to have it kind of a nasty looking little spot, they have it connected here so that when you get it off of the sprue, your ugly spot is on the inside of this where you're never going to see. And that's something that is, I don't see a lot of with Tamiya. I never see that with Revell or AMT. Academy, I have seen it, although it's extremely rare. The one company that does it the most, and I think probably invented the idea, would be Bandai. They do that with their Gundam kits and everything like that, and Bandai is a fantastic proponent of undergating. Their engineers do a fantastic job of making sure that you get absolute minimal nub marks on your kits, and they're fantastic at it. Especially on fuselage halves where you don't want to have any nubs. This is a great thing. I would say the one thing I don't like about this kit is the fact that they do the fuselage halves like that. So you're going to have a seam line here, along here. You're going to have your seam line that you have to clean up. So they're going to go together like this. And right away I see a bit of an issue with the little button that's on the top here is not allowing that to close. They actually show it on both halves, but in reality it's only on the one side. They have it so that it's supposed to go kind of underneath and slide in. So it kind of slides over top of the other side, but it doesn't. And it's really just preventing the two halves from going together. So I've got to just kind of shave it a little bit. Got just a little bit of flashing on here. Okay, let's see how that fits now. That's better. With a little bit of a squeeze, I can get it to close up. That's good. Our bottom's looking good. Everything else is looking pretty good, like it's going to fit nicely. It's just the top here is not that great. Probably going to have to fill with putty anyway. One thing that has always been a challenge for me is trying to get rid of this seam line across the top here on the front of, on the nose cone, the nose of a fuselage. That has always been a challenge for me. I always struggle to get rid of that line, that seam line. And usually when I do get rid of it, I also get rid of all the detail, like panel lining and stuff like that. I'd like to try and retain the panel lines that come across here. Of course, I'm terrible at scribing panel lines also, but I can try. They are very shallow. It just in that one little pass, one little thing I did a terrible job at it. It went right out of the line. Purposely going deep on it. Just using the knife and digging in there. I've seen guys use the back edge of the knife. I will just as easily go out of the lines, out of the groove with the back edge of the knife too. Okay, those are nice and deep, and I've gone in so much that I can actually get in there now. I've got myself some pretty decent lines to scribe into now. One more. There. Okay. I got those nice and deeply scribed. So we got that done there. Now when I do some sanding, or I need to fill in there, I've got lines that can actually take a little bit of abuse and sanding. Okay, now moving on. We've got a little picture over here. This picture is telling us to open up the holes 2, 3, and 4, but not number 1. So we see number 1, 2, 3, and 4, little notches that are in there, but there's nothing on the bottom here. So basically they're just telling us to carve them out. We have them on this side too? Yes, we do. There's notches on this side too. So we don't do number 1, we do number 2. It's just that and that. Just kind of carve it out a little bit. Okay. One. This one looks round. So we'll just kind of carve out a little circle. And then this one is another square notch. Okay, so we've got them done on that side. Again, we don't do number 1, we do number 2. Okay. Number 2. Number 3 is our little round hole. And number 4 is the other little square, or I guess rectangle. Here we go. Okay, so now when we put these two together, we've got some holes in the bottom. See those holes? rectangle, circle, and a rectangle. Okay. So we're going to put these two halves in. These two here pins are going to line up with our landing gear bay on each side. That's going to be in our alignment. Let's do a dry fit. No glue. Shouldn't slide around. If I got it notched properly, then there we go. And sure enough, see my top of the wall in there? I don't want that to be green or gray. That needs to be black. So that tells me I got painting to do. Put this together. It's a bit of a tight fit, but it fits. It's tight, but it works. That's a good fit. I'm happy with that. And it's really only the back wall, is the back here. Now that it's together, the front is not really visible. Just a tiny bit on this side, but as we get back, it's only the green. I need to touch up the green on the top of the wall at the back. And that's it. The rest is going to be fine. Yeah. So it's just a little bit of touch up on the wall back here. I need to do a little bit of touch up on the green because that's going to be visible. This part is actually not supposed to be green. That part should be black. But the sidewall should be green. So, with that being said, let's put a little touch-up paint on there. My metallic blue-green. Just on the top of the wall here. Just for added measure, why not put on this side too? There we go. There we go. Okay. I'm happy with that. It's that kind of thing that I don't want to have to deal with later once it's assembled, you know what I mean? Okay, now the other thing is our radar assembly. We have two options of radars. This is the old school one, the one that you see all the time. You see tons of in pictures, okay? You see this in the Tamiya kits, both the 148 and the 1/32 scale. You see this in their other kits. Just about everybody has this radar system. But this one has this one also. What is this one? This one is a more modern radar system. I'm going to put this one in, just because I want to be different, I want to be modern. I've already picked it off of the sprue and I've painted this up. This is T2, this guy here, okay. I already have it painted up, but I need T14. T14 goes on the top. Why they do a separate piece on there, I don't know, but we got it. T14 right here. Okay. Clean up that nub. T14. Does it go this way or this way? Or is it this way? Ugly looking nub on that. Let's see if I can clean that up a little nicer. I'm gonna have to paint this, but that's okay. I want my nub to be nice and smooth. Okay. Put your glue on here. Bingo. It's kind of a weird looking thing. It's almost like a little hat. But the reason why I did that is because I think once these are together, I don't know if that's going to go in there. Let's have a check. Yeah, I think it's supposed to actually go in that channel. Like this. It's actually supposed to go in there, which is a perfect opportunity to put some glue on there since it's in there right now. Perfect. Test fit. Yep, it's not going to interfere with anything. It's going to sit in there perfect. Okay. Cockpit. Go back in. Nothing else we're supposed to put in here? Nope. Just doing a double check. Alright, so I'm going to get some tape ready. In fact, I'm going to do this right now on the front, so I can go right across like this. Do the same on the back. Make sure we're together. Good. Make sure we got it nice and tight. There we go. You see that pulled the front apart doing that, but that's okay. I think I'm going to have to clamp the front. So it just wants to kind of come apart and stay apart. Let's try clamp. Just hold that, grab a clamp here. Sometimes clamps do funny things where it clamps hard here and then it spreads it apart somewhere else, and that's never good. But I think I could put tape here. Let's make sure I've got everything doing what it's supposed to be doing. Where it belongs. I'm going to do a little test fit here on this guy. Bit of a gap in there. It's unexpected, but that's okay. It fits actually. Snug it down in there. That fits nice. Good. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, let's try putting tape across here. Squeeze that together nice and tight. Yeah, there we go. Good. We got everything held together nice and tight, ready for glue. All right. At the back here, you can slather as much glue as you want on it, because that's all going to be hidden inside the fuselage. The main fuselage, I mean, to be specific. There we go. Okay. A little more tape just for added measure. Up here. Okay, so just hold on to that for a minute. Let the glue kind of do its thing. The next step is a nose cone. You can understand now why we've got two different nose cones. C38, well, we don't actually know. I've got two nose cones for some reason, but it says to use C38. Which one is C38? 30 is the one I took off of the sprue. So here's C38. If you want to have the nose cone displayed open, you're going to leave these two little tabs. See those little tabs inside there? Right there and there? Ignore the nub. That's not it. I'm talking about this tab. These two little tabs right there. Get that right there. These two right. I'm touching it with my finger right now, okay? Those two little tabs. If you want to have the nose closed, you're going to trim them off. Okay? If you want the nose closed, you trim the tabs off. If you want the nose open, you're going to leave them, and then you're going to glue it on with the nose open, like that. I'm still on the fence as to which way I'm going to go with this. You know, I have my big 1/32 scale kit. I've got my big 1/32 scale Tamiya F-15. And the Tamiya kit gives you panels that you can open and close. The nose actually goes, you can just pull the nose out a little slot and then you can open it. And then you can just put it back into place and close it again. Our side panels that are right now my clamp is holding on to, on the Tamiya kit, you can have them closed and you can open them up as much as you want. Of course, it is only the one side, it's just the one panel that Tamiya displays, gives you that. But you have that. With this kit, you can't have panels open and closing. You're either going to do one or the other. So I'm kind of on the fence. I don't have an F-15 where I've got the panels open and display. I think that's pretty cool, and I'm kind of tempted to do that. But at the same time, if I have the nose sitting like this, it looks kind of weird, right? I would prefer to be able to have it open and closed, and have the best of both worlds. I would prefer that, of course. Whether I'm going to get that or not, I don't know. Okay, I think this is at a point where I can finally let go of it and just let the glue do its thing and let it cure. We'll take a look at what's next on the agenda. It's going to be assembly of our intakes, our big intake tunnels, which are in my kit here. I've already gone and spray painted the insides of these white. Okay. Let's put our nose over here. This is going to be a real simple, quick assembly, or at least it should be. I'll change the camera back here. Okay. This should be fairly quick. I should be able to get these assembled and then call it a day. I say we should. That's what I'm hoping for. Just get these done real quick. And then say done for the day. Should be fairly easy. You've got ones with holes and ones with little tabs. And they should line up fairly easily. Okay. Might have to use a little bit of tape, or if you're like me, use clamps. Doesn't really matter too much. You're gonna have some seam lines. If it really bothers you, clean them up. If it doesn't, if you're like me, and it doesn't really bother you because at the end of the day you can't barely see inside the intakes anyway, then leave them alone. Because it doesn't really matter. You do you. What I don't like is a big gap in the middle of it. Okay, see that? It almost looks like a big black line. That's because there's a gap there. If I squeeze that like that, it opens up that. So I'm going to let the glue dry on the ends first, and then later on, once the glue is cured for maybe half an hour, I'll come back and squeeze those together and get rid of that big gap in the middle there. Okay, right now it's just about the ends. It's all about the ends. The ends justify the means. Okay, I do want my lines, my ends lining up here. Okay, it's not a great, it's not a huge, doesn't line up very well, does it? It's like this one is too narrow. Let me just do a little quick check here. Just going to do a quick little check. Yeah, you can't mix up your lefts and rights. Okay, guys, don't mix up your lefts and rights. Fortunately, they are squeezable enough that you could do something like alligator clips, or some kind of clips in there. I got hair inside there now for some reason. These are good flat clips that I can use. There we go. Okay, there's one. How about you? You're gonna go together nice? This one seems to line up pretty good. It's not the best. Not the worst either, though. I think really it is just the flimsiness of the plastic that makes it so they don't line up that great. I do have a similar problem with this one. So just hold that so it lines up straight and let that dry. Okay, we're going to leave that. Okay, that is going to be it for now. Okay, I'm going to let that dry for, I don't know, a good half an hour, and then I will maybe put a clamp on there or do something. Just maybe I'll use my extra thin quick set and just hold on to this for 5 minutes and let that cure, and get rid of those gaps. Get rid of the gaps. You got to mind the gaps, right? Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching. I invite you, please hit that like button, hit subscribe down over on that side if you haven't already. Really appreciate it. Channel seems to have been stagnant for a little while. I would really appreciate more subscribers, guys. And check out the description box down below for links to my Instagram, my Twitch, and stuff like that. You can check me out on there. And thanks again for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.